fully aware that anything could happen. Alrighty. Lovely little mountain town here. I believe this is the La Posta Indian Reservation, home of Golden Acorn Casino, which I don't think I've ever been in the casino. Oh no, I've been in the casino once, but mostly it's just a little gas station and convenience store type place up here. It's nice. Mostly it's convenient because there's not a whole lot else up here. Nice that the surviving members of the Posta tribe can make a living. Of course, the billboards say, incredibly low gas prices. They're pretty much average. For up here, they are below average because you got to truck everything up here. But not like the lowest in San Diego County or anything. It's actually below average for the county, but not by much. It's basically that they're exempt from some taxes, but they also have to pay to transport the fuel up the mountain, which is not free. In fact, it takes gasoline to do that. I guess it actually takes diesel, since most delivery trucks are diesel powered. But anyways, it takes fuel to deliver the fuel. Oh dang, there was a cash discount. Yeah. It's always better to keep your physical cash while traveling in case you lose your card or have an emergency where you can only pay cash for whatever reason. Alright, back on the road again. On a long drive to Texas. I've barely made it into East San Diego County so far. I'm obviously not going to drive all the way to Texas today. In fact, I'm not even going to drive all the way to my grandfather's house in New Mexico. I'm going to drive to somewhere in the proximity of Tucson. I haven't made up my mind. I'd like to camp outside of Tucson. There's what looks like a nice little campground just outside. Can't remember what it's called, but it's about a 4-hour drive where I'm at right now. So I'll be getting there not too long after sunset, but a little bit after. They say they actually don't close the entrance until 10 p.m. So I should be able to. It's just entirely if they have a spot. Hi. Hello. I can't read chat very well because I am driving, but I will do my best. Esteban, Olive, hello. Now, looks like wherever you were, you left. I don't know. It's really see behind my head here camera, so that was the camera's actually angled so you can you see my river here? When I look at the camera, I can see clouds. I don't know if that's that's looking straight up through the windshield. I think so. Pretty wide field of up a little more so that you see more of the sky. But you can see off to the side here the beautiful mountains east of San Diego County. Blue sky up above, black tarmac underneath, but it's okay. Roads always detract from natural beauty a little bit, but they also facilitate us being here, and they don't usually look too bad. Plus, asphalt is actually like pretty much non-toxic, right? I mean, I wouldn't eat it, but it doesn't have any particularly adverse effects on the environment when it degrades. And then obviously the gravel is just gravel. It's back to being rocks. So I was going to upload a video about why there's not an eclipse every month, right? Because the moon is orbiting the Earth with an orbital period of about 28 days. And so it's like, well, that implies that it's going to pass, in the vicinity of the sun, in front of the sun every month. Then it does, right? When there's a new moon, the moon is. But it turns out that the orbit of the moon is inclined by about 5 degrees relative to what they call the plane of the ecliptic. Which is so named because that's the plane that the moon has to enter for there to be an eclipse. But the plane of the ecliptic is also the plane that the Earth orbits the sun in. So the moon crosses in front of the sun, or approximately in front of the sun, once a month, and it passes through the plane of the ecliptic twice a month. But only once in a while do those two things coincide, right? So, in order for there to actually be an eclipse, the point at which the sun passes through the plane of the ecliptic, which are the ascending and descending nodes of its orbit, have to coincide with the point at which the moon has a right ascension that is directly between the Earth and the sun, right? So, twice a month, the moon will pass through the same plane that the Earth orbits the sun in. But usually, it does that, like, when it's not between the Earth and the sun. Like, it does it, like, off at some random angle. And, on average, twice a year, either the ascending or the descending node will line up to be right in front of the sun as viewed from the Earth, and there will be an eclipse. And so there is, an eclipse somewhere on Earth, roughly every 6 months. But when I say somewhere, I mean there is a partial eclipse that is visible from at least some part of the Earth, but that part of the Earth is frequently uninhabited, and that the eclipse is frequently a partial rather than a total. But in terms of there being some amount of the sun being occluded as viewed from somewhere on the Earth, it does actually happen about twice a year. Because you can imagine that, the ascending and descending nodes of the moon's orbit are sort of basically fixed, right? The position of the ascending and descending nodes don't rotate as the Earth goes around the sun. And so the moon goes through those, once each per month. Am I saved for God? Pretty sure. I guess I couldn't tell you until I kicked the bucket, but fairly confident. I generally try not to be mean to people, so should be good. What is my thought of the eclipse? And we're back. I think. Maybe. Yes. Although we're back down to 0 viewers, but that's okay. This isn't about the views, except in the sense of the lovely view outside. Although I wish there had been, because I am going to save this in the archive, and I don't think I'm going to unlist it. I might, just because it's going to be mostly long and boring, because I'm not really, there's not really much of a subject here other than kind of talking about the eclipse. I guess the previous person who was asking what do I think about it, I think it's cool. It's a really cool thing to be able to see and experience. That's why I'm going out to see the total eclipse. I've seen several partial eclipses. I've seen one total eclipse, and I'd like to see another total eclipse. They're incredible events. You can see the corona of the sun streaming out from it. There's nothing quite like it. You can see the surface topography of the moon, right? You can see the little bumps and edges. It's absolutely incredible. I strongly recommend at least grabbing a pair of eclipse glasses. If you live anywhere close to if you live anywhere in North America, you should get a pair of eclipse glasses so you can at least look at the partial eclipse, because it'll be visible as a partial eclipse from just about everywhere. Everywhere in North America. There are people who live elsewhere. It's so nice out here. I can't believe it. It's been too long since I've driven through here. I really like the Southwest. I like the desert. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it. You can just, I like forests too. I like it back east sometimes, but man, it's just, there's something about being able to see for just miles and miles and miles. And it's not desolate. It's full of life, desert, but it's a very sort of hard, scrabbly life, right? There's all these little critters, and a lot of them only come out at night. All the rabbits and the mice and the lizards. Well, the lizards do come out during the day because they're They're ectotherms, so they necessarily have to sort of stay dormant at night when it's cold. But all the mammals and birds are really active at night, especially the mammals. And there's all the plants that survive on very little water, but nonetheless, I don't know if you can see looking out the window here. I mean, it's rained a lot this year, but this is very much the desert side. This is the leeward side of the mountain here that I'm driving through. Like this is already into the rain shadow. But there's all these scrub brushes and cacti and other succulents. There's lots of yuccas. There's you can't see it because I have the camera facing me, but there's how there's the signs to warn you about sheep and cattle and stuff, but there's one for bighorn sheep here. This is where they live, on the Mojave Desert. Well, I guess this isn't necessarily the Mojave. What is this? Sonora? I don't know. This is the Anza Borrego area. Nope, here comes twists and the turns, which sort of have a warning. The camera might fall over here because I just have it on a little keep both hand steering wheel here. After some here we go. Well, the connectivity issues have been fixed, just not so much those issues. We're actually down the mountain now. We could fix this. Let's fix it. It didn't actually disconnect from falling over, though. It disconnected. I mean, it did fall over. Disconnected first due to what's it called? Disconnected first due to just the lack of data. All right. You're gonna have to look at this beautiful desert scenery. All night. Right. So just do this. Actually remove it. It's causing more problems. The Desert Museum there. It's really nice out here. As windy as it is. Okay. All the way out. Yeah, there we go. Now, our next question is, which way do I want the back of the stand facing? I think I want it this way. I might end up regretting. Okay. Normally use this on my desk where I need a little bit of extra height, so I have a second arm attached to it, but for putting on my dash, I just want base without anything else, without any extras. Bit of tape, make sure it doesn't jostle around. Sure, just a little bit better. All right, there we go. Much better. And I think that's good. All right, here we go again. Again. Might be a little bit floppy, but it's not gonna straight up fall over again. Now it looks like we're back to 0 viewers. C'est la vie. Oh, there's somebody. Hello, random person. I don't know if you can see the windmills off to my left. They're actually stopped right now, which is the wind is blowing too hard. They normally generate quite a bit of power, though, which is kind of an interesting thing about this region out here, because I'm now in Imperial County, which is a very poor region. Like, there's not a lot of economic opportunity out here for the most part, but there's a huge amount of renewable power, and it's just because of the geography. There's actually 3 different sources of renewable power, all of which are sort of situational and environmentally dependent. So yeah, I don't know how many more times I'm gonna lose data, but it's not like I have some huge number of people watching the stream anyway. So I do apologize to anybody that trying to watch continuously, because I know YouTube is not like Twitch. It doesn't just reset the same stream, right? It generates a new what's it every time. Although I don't know how it works for this like vertical live streaming. Maybe it does return, because it says reconnect, so it's, you know, that implies that it's reconnecting and not just generating a new one. But knowing how YouTube works, it probably just generates a new one. But yeah, here we are out in the desert now. But yeah, I was saying there's a huge amount of solar power out here too. The desert, you know, sunshine almost every day. And in fact, a little too much sunshine sometimes. It gets really hot out here. This is the rather long and, in many respects, rather dull part of the journey. Oh, absolutely. Yes, the eclipse is just an eclipse. Yes. There's no. I mean, I don't really. Like, okay, the joke, right, is that there's lots of jokes about astrology, and I don't like, you know, I don't like quote unquote believe in astrology. I don't think most people who do astrology believe in astrology, right? It's just something fun to do. Right, like I don't, you know, you don't believe. Most people who do astrology don't believe in astrology anymore than people who play Dungeons and Dragons believe in Dungeons and Dragons. Right, it's just a fun thing to do. But yeah, you know, there certainly are things we don't understand, but and there is a, you know, the cultural significance of the eclipse can certainly have a sort of meta impact on society. But insofar as, like, you know, the eclipse is going to happen and then, you know, World War III or earthquakes or whatever, like, of course not, right? You know, don't be preposterous. The only thing it's going to cause, there is a measurable economic impact from the eclipse, and potential, you know, problems even because of the traffic jams. No, it's not going to, like, you know, bring about the New World Order or anything like that. I don't know how much you guys can see around my head. I have it angled, the camera angle, so you can see the blue sky above on the upside of the windshield there. It's very nice out here, despite being, like I keep saying, it's a whole lot of brown and a little bit of green, but I don't know, it's just so beautiful in its own way. I think I'll manage to get out to the Brawley Dunes before sunset. Where are we going? So ultimately, I am going to Texas, but for today, I am just trying to make it to roughly Tucson. I'm on the fence about whether or not I'm gonna see if they still have spots at a campground outside of Tucson, because it looks really nice. But if they don't have any more spots, then I'll just go, like, get a motel room in Tucson, because there's plenty of lodging there. I'd prefer to camp, because looks like there's this nice little state park on a mountain outside of just west of Tucson, actually. So it works out where I can stop the campground, see if they have spots, and then if they don't, I'll just go into Tucson City. And then tomorrow, I'll be driving to my grandfather's house in Alamogordo, New Mexico. And then I will, like, morning of, I will get up at dark 30 and drive all the way to Texas on Monday. I might leave Sunday night, but probably I'm just going to get up at, like, 4 a.m. on Sunday and drive the rest of the way from Alamogordo to Texas. which this is I-8, runs all the way from, San Diego to Las Cruces, and then it becomes/merges with I-10 at that point. Or maybe it's in Tucson. That I don't know. It merges with the 10 at some point. I was thinking it merges with the 10 in Las Cruces, but maybe it merges with the 10 in Tucson. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it merges with the 10 in Tucson. Oh man, freeways. That's actually something I haven't seen before. There's the insulators on there's some high voltage wires right there, and the insulators on them are painted blue. I don't know if that's like a new I don't know if that's a new coating that they started using or what. I'll have to look that up later. It might just be like I always have to guess, right, what things are before I actually know. But it might just be so that they can see the weathering, because the insulators are just ceramic, right? There's not a whole lot to them, but they do, ceramics do chip over time, and so they might have they might just have some blue paint on there so that they can see the wear on them, versus when they're solid gray, chipped gray looks the same as, freshly painted smooth gray, versus the blue, when it chips away, and might be able to tell more easily. Or maybe it is actually just like a new type of insulator they're installing. I mean, the insulators are all pretty much perfect in terms of actually providing something that won't conduct any electrical power and cause any transmission losses. But they're not necessarily the same in terms of how sturdy they are and how well they hold up to wind and sand and all that. Oh, here's off to the left. You should be able to see it as it's going past the sort of driver's side window. There's a solar farm, like I was talking about earlier. There's lots and lots of solar farms out here. Oh, and then up ahead, there's I don't know, those are Ospreys or some other Marine Navy helicopters. There's no shortage of those in San Diego, but there's Naval Air Station El Centro out here, just a winter home of the Blue Angels, and it's also year-round auxiliary landing field. And I don't know if there's anything that's actually based there. Oh yeah, those are like, what's it called? Hueys. They're like the late model Hueys that the Marines use, the UH-1Y. Here's regular farms, solar farms. Now here's just, I don't actually know what they're growing right now. Might be soybeans. They grow a lot of vegetables out here. Anything that requires a lot of sunlight to get good yields. And I mean, it's all water intensive, but kind of get more bang for your buck water-wise. It's at least sunny out. There's, crops are always limited by basically one of three things: sunlight, water, or soil nutrients. Nitrogen, phosphorus, things like that. You can pretty much add as much fertilizer as you want. You can add nitrates and phosphates to the soil. I mean, they cost something and have some environmental effects, but you can add more than enough relative ease. Water's more difficult because you need such a large volume of it, but you can pump it around. One thing that remains largely out of human control is the sunshine. So that's why it actually does, well, I mean, make sense in the economic sense to grow crops in places that are like this, that are so arid. It's because, yeah, the water all has to be pumped out of the Colorado River, but the sun is always shining, so the crops will always grow. Versus places where it rains, yeah, you have plenty of water, but you don't necessarily have enough sunshine. Now, environmentally, that's another matter. Environmentally, it's really not a good idea, to be honest. You know, especially now that we kind of know how to predict things a little bit better. It's probably not such a good idea to grow crops, at least this intensive of crops, in such an arid region. But I don't know. I mean, like most people, I am a fan of eating, so I guess I can't complain too much. Oh, there's an osprey out to the left. The aircraft kind. Oh, there goes a little hawk. I don't think it'll pass through the camera's field of view. There's an osprey. Oh, it's one of the ospreys with the carrier onboard delivery feed scheme. That's why it looks different. We're going to pass through El Centro in just a little bit here. Got about an hour until sunset. Which I'm not actually sure where I'll be crossing through at sunset. Might just barely be making it through Yuma. Oh yeah, here's the new river. There's water in it. That doesn't happen too often. It did just rain quite a lot in Southern California, though. There's more crossland here. Yeah, so whatever they're growing, it's early in its growth cycle. It's just little sprouts. Hard to say this early on. It is only like, well, I don't know. Actually, it's already April, so definitely like what's it called? Most California crops should be growing quite nicely by now, because we don't really, especially out in Imperial Valley here, there is no winter frost. So, who knows though? I kind of wish I knew more about horticulture sometimes, and botany in general. Plants are very important to, well, everything. Human life especially, but all life on Earth is, derived from energy made available by photosynthetic organisms. Well, I guess having their photosynthesis briefly interrupted on Monday. Well, only in the path of totality. Which I'm actually kind of nervous that I will not get to see the total. The forecast is iffy, especially because I was on the fence between going with my dad to see I could either go with my dad to see my maternal grandmother in Kentucky and then drive to Indiana from there, or I could drive out by myself to see my maternal grandfather who lives in New Mexico, and then drive from there to Texas. Got like a refundable Southwest ticket. Waited until the last minute, and decided like just a few days ago that the weather looked better in Texas than Indiana, but now it looks like the weather might be better in Indiana than in Texas, but I'm committed here, so. Pump station. I should actually probably get over. I'm kind of hovering behind the school bus here. We're not going that slow, but yeah, it'd be better to pass something. Apparently, I've only been live for 38 minutes, which means I've only been driving for 38 minutes since I got gas, which was the turn, I don't know, it was at the top of the mountain. I started my odometer when I was at home. Been only gone 126 miles so far. Trying to think how far it is in total. I think it's about 800 miles all the way to New Mexico. Texas is obviously further. Once I make it to New Mexico, I will have a place to stay for several days. Oh, there's a lot of that's an aqueduct that draws from the Colorado River, though. To say that a lot of water there. Like, yeah, but that's not from a rain, it's just from the river. Although the river is particularly full this time of year. There's a good amount of snow melt. We're going to get around this truck now. I'm not sure how well this vertical live streaming actually works, to be honest. It's kind of nice for something like this, where it's like, might as well stream, talk about whatever. Nominally the eclipse, but I think I've already explained twice how it works. It's not complicated to understand how the eclipse works. It's more complicated to understand why there isn't an eclipse every month, and that in turn is just the fact that the moon does not orbit in the same plane as the Earth orbits the sun, and in fact the plane in which the Earth orbits the sun is called the plane of the ecliptic, because when the sun passes through the plane of the ecliptic at the same time as there's a new moon, when the moon is passing near the sun, it will pass directly in front of the sun. Normally it'll pass, above or below the sun when it passes through the sort of near side of its orbit between the Earth and the sun. I kind of wish they didn't show you how many people were watching. Just because, I don't know. It feels like if it's, I don't know, as long as it's not zero. Oh, there's the thing up there where there's the, like, water tank, and it has sea level, and it's about, like, 20 feet above ground level. We're actually dipping a fair bit below sea level here. Minivan creating a bit of a conundrum for me here. Alright. People getting on the on-ramp accelerated enough. Not an issue. I'll say I'm not really accustomed to streaming as opposed to pre-recording. I usually record without a script though, which is, to be honest, not that different. But I also usually have like a under 20-minute topic to talk about, unless I have like lecture notes that I'm going to hit the proper lecture on my other lecture channel, which also nobody watches. Actually, people do watch this channel at this point. Not that many, but most of my views come from just uploading footage from the air show, plane spotting. The most fun is definitely like the occasions when you can do like tutoring, sort of live lectures, stuff I know like the back of my hand, and answer people's questions on. Which I have a paid tutoring student, so I kind of feel weird taking his money. But a long story. Basically, he was one of my friends had him as a paid student, and so then my friend got sort of ill. He has chronic illness and was unable to handle all the students, so I took some of them. But because they were paying him, they became paid students who were paying me. And I also have do a little bit of tutoring for people I'm friends with on Discord. That friends from what used to be our San Diego. I mean, our San Diego. Reddit/r/San Diego still exists. But obviously Reddit has, I don't know, Reddit has problems. It always has, but ever since the API shenanigans, I don't know. Honestly, the API shenanigans are kind of the least of it. Like, Reddit has all sorts of problems. I still use it, but just a lot less. Got several miles to go. Although apparently just in the time since I last mentioned it, my odometer has ticked up 10 miles. So that's encouraging. Because it's going a lot faster. Well, it's going a lot faster now. Right now I'm doing about 75. Just because, well, I mean, really because that's how fast everybody else is going, but also because this is just a complete straightaway. Alright, 296 miles to Tucson. Third of the way there. There's some corn. I don't know why they're growing that here. Or no, maybe it's not corn. I don't know what it is. And unfortunately, I can't really look that carefully unless I want to pull over, which I don't. I wish there was a way into this and like, Discord. Probably is. I'd have to like, well, I'd have to pull over and fuck with my phone. I'd rather just keep driving at least until it's getting dark out, so I can get as far as I can before sunset. Actually, for now, I can turn my lights off. I had them on because it was cloudy at the top of the mountain. Which YouTube has decided to implement the vertical live streaming as like, I don't know, in the short feed or whatever. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. I'm not sure it's a bad idea. But it's just because I remember a while ago, I ran into a couple of years ago, I ran into the problem that I wanted to live stream on my phone, only to discover that you had to have like certain criteria met in order to do it. Now they're making it like even easier, but TikTok got scared, man. They're they would. I'm sure YouTube would like TikTok to be banned. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I don't like TikTok, I can tell you that. I don't use it. I have no intention of using it, but I don't know if the solution is to ban it. In fact, you could probably, depending on how it's implemented, you could argue that a ban would be a bill of attainder, but I'm much more concerned with the state of YouTube than I am. I just assume that TikTok is garbage and just don't go on it. I'm much more concerned with YouTube becoming garbage, which it is always at risk doing. We've made it through a whole lot, and it's always been mostly stupid garbage. But it's also always had a lot of genuinely useful content, interesting, that aren't just I don't know, not the entertainment is bad, but it's always, a lot of it has always been sort of entertainment with no sort of positive qualities, shall we say. And then again, it's like, at the moment, I'm neither particularly entertaining nor particularly informative. I'm trying to be informative, but I don't know. I'm not very energized at the moment. I should just explain like every half hour, like how the plane at the ecliptic works in the moon's orbit, because I don't want to explain it like to the same person twice, but I don't think anybody stays in here for more than about 10 minutes at a time. So about every 20 minutes I can re-explain why there's not an eclipse every month. I was going to make an actual video with like Blender animations for, and I'm still planning to do that, but definitely a little bit behind on it, and I don't know, I had other things to do. So behind on everything. I'm almost behind on everything, because kind of a failure, if you haven't noticed. Like I say, I'm, sort of I used to say I'm a B-tier scientist and a sort of C-tier engineer and F-tier YouTuber, but more like a C-tier scientist. D-tier engineer on a good day, and I don't even qualify for a grade as a YouTuber. It should be pretty easy to actually do the animation, though. I actually was working on it the other day, like, because I'm, like, always sort of, oh, here's a bunch of cabbage. Who doesn't love cabbage? Where's that lettuce? Oh, yeah. No, it's cabbage. Alright, I need to look at the road, not the crops. I need the sunglasses back on. It got bright. Oh yeah. I figured out how to get the parenting of all the different orbits right, so that the moon actually moves in the correct orientation. And I can show why there's an eclipse approximately twice a year somewhere on Earth. Because the moon's ascending node has to be in front of the sun as viewed from the Earth, or either its ascending or descending node has to be in front of the sun as viewed from the Earth. And the moon actually has to pass through the ascending or descending node during that same time period. It frequently passes close enough for the moon to be in sun penumbra, so to create a partial eclipse. So there's a partial eclipse somewhere on Earth a couple times a year. Man. They actually should stream more often. It's kind of chill. Like, I follow a lot of, well, actually don't follow very many streamers. I only follow, like, a couple of, like, small ones. And then I do technically follow Finn, just because he became such a meme. And I felt obliged to, but I don't usually watch his streams, because they're, I don't know, like, I just don't. Not that they're, I mean, obviously I follow him. I have anything against, oh, there's another announcement. I don't have anything against them, but, I don't know. The streamers I actually watch are like they're just like random hobby streamers. A couple of them I follow because they play like niche games that I play. Oh, I don't watch their streams very much. And then a couple of others I follow because, like, I don't know, I'm friends with, I'm on their Discord, and I'm like friends with their like audience, and I'm like kind of friends with the streamer to the same, like, parasocial extent that anybody in the audience is, but there's a small enough audience that we're all kind of friends with each other, and the streamer is not like on some pedestal above us all or anything. They're just sort of the hosts. In fact, one of them explicitly compares themselves to, you know, being the bartender at your local pub or dive bar, where everybody just kind of goes there to chill after work. Which I also have, like, you know, regular Discord servers for that, where it's just kind of like, you know, there's no streamer, it's just we're all in voice chat. That's pretty nice too. mean, I spend more time doing that than I do, like, watching Twitch streamers or whatever. Oh, another form of streamer that I do recommend watching, even though I haven't in a while, is there's a lot of streamers that do live music, which I sometimes will like just leave that up instead of Spotify if I want to listen to music. So there's some very talented people on there. But I don't know, including people streaming on YouTube, which obviously has the advantage that then you can immediately have the video available afterwards if you want to go find the song they were playing. But also there's different rules, of course, of copyright and whatnot. That's how I found Sharknado Week, the main Twitch streamer I actually follow. I'm trying to think of live streamers I watch on YouTube, or really YouTubers whose live streams I regularly watch. I guess I was watching Jenna Moressi's writing streams for a while, but kind of two things happened simultaneously there. One, the sort of like, you know, very light drama, but nevertheless with Haley happened, and then Jenna dropped the streams from once a week to twice a week, and then more importantly than either one of those things for my participation is I finished my draft. And the point of those streams, which are very nice actually, you know, that there was, you know, like, you know, 20 minutes, or usually more than 20 minutes, of like taking questions and talking, and then it would be 20 minutes of like, you know, everybody just do, you know, write, you know, 20 minutes of writing or 20 minutes of working on something. I basically I probably drafted like at least 2/3, 3/4 of my like sci-fi novel in those streams. But yeah, my draft is done, and I was editing in them, but it's a little bit harder to do editing sprints, just because like with writing, you end up with a lot of like ideas floating around in your head, and like you feel ready to write all the time, but just not quite ready to actually put out the words. And so having those 20-minute sprint blocks really help. Editing, it does work. In fact, it can work reasonably well, but I don't know. It's a little bit different. But I've also not been getting very much editing done on my novels, so maybe I should go back to watching them. Also, I got a little bit annoyed with like not in the sense of like, you know, like morally objecting or like philosophically objecting to Jenna's jokes, but they just kind of like this kind of got a little long. Actually makes a lot of, you know, like sort of, you know, middle schooler jokes, and a lot of sort of not self-absorbed jokes in the sense of like being like narcissistic or anything, but just very like you know, sort of, you know, inside jokes that, you know, she likes to repeat with her friends and stuff, and they're you know, perfectly nice actually, but they just get a little bit like boring after a while if you don't share her sense of humor, which I don't have a completely different sense of humor, but I have a different enough one that it got old. Yeah, and I've actually never read the Savior's Champion, and I read some reviews, and you know, it doesn't seem that bad, but it doesn't seem that good. I will say one thing that I found encouraging from her streams is there's several things people have pointed out that are actually problematic in those books. Like problematic in the sense of like problematic, but she actually it seems like she's planning on addressing those problems in future books. So the sort of stylistic issues that are more a matter of taste will remain, but again, there's a matter of taste. But the sort of problematic as far as like, you know, glorifying different things that should not be glorified, that I will not say. Yeah, she seems to be addressing that in her new novel, so that's good. Yes, that was me narcissistically checking to see if anybody's watching. Nobody is though, so it's all good. I'll probably leave this up, but I don't think anybody's going to watch a 40-minute long video of me driving through the desert. Especially since I just stop every 20 minutes and explain, like, if I see a question about the eclipse, I'll definitely answer it. Like, I am looking at chat, but nobody's said anything since the last guy asked where I was going. It's very beautiful out here. Completely flat. You know, I don't know, you could call it desolate, but it's just, I absolutely love the desert. I kind of miss, like, trees sometimes. I kind of wish I got to see my grandma in Kentucky. I am going to go see my grandpa in Alamogordo, New Mexico, and then from there drive to Texas. One way or another, I'm going to go visit family that I like to visit, so. But I haven't seen my grandma in a while, so I think my sister and my mom and I might go see my grandma in some other time. I don't know. It's more difficult to be around my grandmother because, like, my grandparents, like, they're separate. Like, it's my dad's mom and my mom's dad are the ones that are still alive. And they both kind of have some kooky beliefs, but my grandfather is more the sort of person that, like, you know, he just kind of, like, you know, he's always been very into, like, Roswell, and he's, you know, very into, he's into a lot of conspiracy theories that have now become sort of, like, political, but that was never his angle, right? He's just, like, you know, he's always been into, like, you know, into Bigfoot and aliens and, you know, cryptids and all sorts of weird stuff and chemtrails and whatnot. My grandmother, you know, as much as I love her, she's much more just kind of like the sort of person who will casually use racial epithets. Actually, not casually. She will mention racial epithets and how, like, oh, you can't say that anymore. It's like, yeah, you can, you just shouldn't. And you never should have. So, you know, she's a little bit harder to get along with. But, you know, I don't know. She's not, like, completely terrible or anything. I just, I don't know. I don't really feel like correcting her at this point because I've definitely reached the point she's old enough that she's going to die soon. So, I mean, I'm not, like, looking forward to her dying, but I also don't really see the point in trying to change her mind about things because, like, she ain't going to be around that much longer. It's bad for you to die still, you know, believing things like that, but she's not, it's complicated. I was going to say she's not actively hateful, but she's just sort of like, you know, how there's this very sort of like thing about being like silently judgmental of anybody who's different from you. And she's a little bit like that. A lot of things where I just don't feel like correcting her. It's just not worth the effort. My grandpa, he says all sorts of kooky things, but I don't know, they're just kooky. They're not, well, racist. Alright, 160 miles. I will say, this is an improvement on desktop live streams where I don't think I've ever got a single message and chat at all. So, yeah, this is actually nice. Please do let me know if you have any questions about the eclipse or anything, but I do, considering that that's the title of the stream and why I'm streaming is that I'm driving out to see the eclipse, I rather expect that to be the topic du jour, but if you have questions about anything, physics or aviation or just life related, I will give you my opinion, whether or not I know what I'm talking about. I think there's 0 people in the stream right now anyways. I don't know. I think it probably reduces it once it's been going on long enough. Like, after a while, it's like, okay, yeah, you just have the phone on. I don't know what they're competing with this. Maybe they're trying to differentiate themselves from TikTok because TikTok does not have live streaming in the feed. Maybe they're trying to compete with Twitch or whatever. I don't think so. I think they're just sort of throwing everything together. I don't know if this feature will honestly still be here in 6 months. It'd be kind of nice if it is. Several times people have tried to do, like there's a reason people don't really do IRL streams on Twitch that much, to be honest. Like, it's kind of difficult, and like most of the people who do it successfully are like doing something like terrible in public. It's kind of awkward to like IRL stream because generally you're doing it out where there's other people, and then like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. I got a lot of RVs and trucks to pass here. I'm going to stay at a slightly accelerated speed. Alright, one more truck to go. I should actually probably, if I'm going to keep my head rested like this, I should actually adjust my mirror a little bit. I will say that is one nice thing about Subaru. They have very good visibility, which is something that is, it depends on what car you have and whether or not it's lacking. There's the thing that floors me is when sports cars have bad visibility. It's like, it's supposed to be this, like, you know, lean, mean driving machine. Like, you can't see out of the darn thing. It beats half the purpose of driving fast down a windy road, cornering, and seeing the beautiful scenery as you do it. I don't know. It's actually a really important safety feature to have good visibility, which, you know, I can tell you plenty of bad things about Subarus too, but you know, ain't you know, flawless endorsement of them. I was actually recently disappointed to learn that they actually have rather poor labor relations in a lot of ways, especially in Japan. They're U.S. employees, they seem to treat okay, but they don't really have very many of those. Subarus are mostly assembled in Japan. And they have a lot of migrant workers that they don't treat very well. Japan does not allow very many foreign workers for sort of low-wage jobs. They don't allow that many foreigners, period. They allow a decent amount of, like, you know, Americans, Europeans. Are we passing over yeah, there's the canal. We're not quite over it, so I'm not quite over the Colorado River yet, so this is not yet Arizona. But, getting a little closer. out here now. Oh yeah, here we go. I don't know if you, well, you can see them off to the left there, but I said you're right. My left, there's the sand dunes. We're out in Raleigh now. Yeah, I haven't been out here in a long time. Well, no, that's the last time. Oh yeah, it was the last time. It's been about a year since I was out here. Because I drove out to New Mexico last spring. I usually go out to New Mexico a couple times a year to see my grandpa. Sometimes I drive, sometimes I fly. Mostly I've driven, actually. Because I was also living in Albuquerque for a while. It was nice. I kind of miss Albuquerque. Yeah, I miss having a actual job.